T. Higgins could go back to the Bengals, and they can keep Jamar Chase and have Joe Burrow throw to him. So that is why we as analysts from afar, as we fixate on the Patriots wide receiver position here on WEEI Afternoons, they need wide receivers. We just said it. Maybe these guys that they have can get better if they bring in a number one receiver. But there's no number one receivers in free agency, so how do you get number one receiver? Well, you're going to have to either trade or maybe Cooper Kupp gets cut and he hits free agency, whatever. So if I just asked you guys, who is your top realistic target? So a name that is at least being bandied about. We know Cooper Kupp is available, so he's flat out on the list. Christian Kirk's a guy that a lot of people think could get cut. There's others, the DK Metcalfs. Deebo Samuel wants a trade. Another name I'm throwing out there, because I've been throwing it out there for a while, and I've now seen it actually included on lists by legitimate journalists. Not that I'm not legitimate. I'm just saying legitimate journalists have joined the parade. Garrett Wilson. And I know he's in the division, and it's probably hard to pull that off. Davante Adams is on the list. So, Ted, I'll give you first dibs here. Who's your dream to bring credibility, production, leadership, whatever to the wide receiver position?
Of all the names you mentioned, and this name has been brought up before this offseason, and I was proposed this question. I think it was on Early Edition about a month ago, and it's my favorite. Of all the names you mentioned, there's one name that stands above all the other ones, and I know what you guys your rebuttals are going to be. So I'm not sure I'll be ready for them, but I know what they'll be.
Crazy, Ted.
Wait, if you know what our rebuttals are, you should be ready for
them. Well, I don't have the best answer for it, but and that's one. Okay, of all the names you mentioned, let me put it this way. It's the old teacher in me. Of all the names you mentioned, which one do you think complements a offense that wants to be weaponized? An offense where it complements what the athleticism you have at the quarterback position.
In theory?
In theory.
Deebo Samuel.
Ding, 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 ding.
In execution, he needs to get on a Wake in 180 and get back to being Deebo.
Okay,
man.
So look.
He's fat.
That's that wasn't the rebuttal.
He's hefty.
Does he get injured a lot?
He's fat? Well, I think he gets injured a lot because he's fat.
Okay, that's fair.
I think sometimes those go hand in hand.
I think it's the way he plays. Andy, he runs into traffic headlong.
He is a part-time running back, but that's what Ted is sort of talking about. He's a weapon more than he is a pure wide receiver. Right?
Correct.
He's a pawn, a piece on the board.
Where you get the ball to him fast, and then he goes and makes.
Yeah,
like that's kind of what you need for a quarterback that doesn't have a very good offensive line. Is can we just get the ball out fast? You know, all these quarterbacks, the horizontal game is so much more prominent now in the college, and so it translates into the NFL. And if you have a bad offensive line like the Patriots do, then you need to get the ball out fast into a playmaker's hands. Deebo Samuel fits the bill for me. That's a kid. He's still kind of in his prime years. Drafted in 2019. He's still got some tread on the tire. So I love kind of that fit for this offense.
So Deebo Samuel is on Adam Jones' list, but he's actually fourth on his list if he were ranked.
Okay.
Yes, he is not on Rich Keefe's list. Fitzy, who would be number one on your list?
Oh, I think if they were able to, and I know this isn't necessarily the way that it works, but if you were able to have a heart-to-heart conversation, tete-a-tete, yes, if you were able to have a man-to-man conversation,
let's go,
and just say, Deebo, do you want to restart your career? Do you we may even let you go after a year or two just so you can go get that one final deal.
No.
Commit to football again. No. You don't get to play third base here. But can do you love football enough to want to get back in shape and do it? I think Deebo Samuel and Cooper Kupp would come in and teach these guys to be tough. They would teach these guys to be pros, and they would show these New England Patriots wide receivers how to get it done in a number of ways. And between the two of them, if you acquire them both, it's a lot of money spent, but guess what? A, not our money, and B, if you get a full season out of the two of them combined, it's a win.
Now you're getting me all excited, Fitzy. I'm serious. I'm getting worked up. All right. Glad there's a table here, but there's
hot and bothered.
Ted, button that shirt up.
The idea of Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel, why I absolutely love that idea, is because it jumpstarts your offense a little bit, right? How do we get Drake Maye to? Look, I thought Drake Maye, yes, he threw a lot of interceptions. He turned the ball over, but there was times, he only had one win last year. We got to start winning football games. You bring in a couple of those guys, and then all of a sudden you start winning a few more games. Drake Maye's profile starts to be raised a little bit. Mike Vrabel's here for 1 year. People start to see, wow, this is a good coaching staff. Now you got a little something, a little momentum going into next offseason.
Yes.
And then that's where you maybe start kind of attracting more players here.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to, unfortunately, the draft and hitting on the draft. But we don't have that luxury right now. You're going to have to make some trades to get some talent in here. I love the idea of a Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel combo.
Now. Oh, Ted, I am like that the GIF file of like Jack Nicholson just looking at the camera, just nodding maniacally.
And let me ask you this one thing. To fix the offensive line, the defensive line, the wide receivers through the draft, we're going to say it's 3, 4, 5 years. It's going to take forever to do.
Whoa. It doesn't have to be.
For all
you
of those,
just brought up Lad McConkey.
For all of those positions.
Brock Bowers.
The
We're seeing
odds
guys
would
immediately.
say,
Malik Neighbors.
Do you trust them to hit on every single draft pick they have the next 2 to 3 years? I don't.
No.
It's very hard to do. So why not jumpstart it by trade some future assets, for those positions, those wide receiver positions with those players, and jumpstart your offense and kind of get this thing going.
So before I give you my answer, because you guys have Deebo, Kupp, I like the additions. Okay. The snarky, cynical retort would be, yeah, but who plays wide receiver in October after those guys are on injured reserve? Because those guys have gotten banged up quite a bit in recent years. That's just the reality, right? Mm-hmm. And that you don't get value out of them just as they're hanging around the training room with the young receivers.
Well, this is where we turn it on to you, the host. Who do you want then, if you're so smart?
So I don't know if I'm smart, but I see it. Well, the guy I really want is Garrett Wilson, but I don't think he's realistic. I don't think the Jets are trading Garrett Wilson to the Patriots. So I'm not going to go down that fantasy land route.
Second most talented player on the Jets, and they're just going to deal him away in the first year of Aaron Glenn's tenure? No way.
Ever hear of the Mavericks? Ever see the trade they just made?
That was a generationally stupid trade.
But no, I don't think that's going to happen. So the next guy I would go to is also on the Jets. I think Davante Adams has something left in the tank, and I know Tom Curran and Phil Perry have both been beating this drum on NBC Sports Boston. Tom Curran even threw a contract out the other day here on WEEI with the midday program.
How much?
2 years, $64 million, fully guaranteed. He gets $32 million a year. Fully guaranteed. All that.
I'm sorry,
all
how
that
much?
and a cup of whatever you want to go with it. Yes, Dan Ball.
Unfortunately, I think Adams may rather play in Siberia than with Josh McDaniels again.
Although you never know. You never know where his angst was. Was it just Jimmy Garoppolo? Was it Josh McDaniels?
It's a fair
was it
point.
losing the situation? I mean,
$64 million. Does he get a Taco Bell at Patriot Place that he has access to?
it was just a year ago that we had D-Hop considering the Patriots. And D-Hop and Bill O'Brien, their relationship went really south in Houston when he traded him away, if you remember. So, bridges that get burned can be rebuilt, theoretically. And if you're offering him 2 years, $64 million fully guaranteed, that might be a nice step towards rebuilding a bridge.
All right, so just so people understand, he's under contract with the Jets this year.
Yes, for now.
So we'd have to give up a draft picks and then pay him
Potentially.
a lot of money.
Why are you giving me this? I don't care for this attitude, Ted Johnson.
The Patriots, they're the last 10 years, they led the league in the lowest amount of cash spending.
Yeah.
You think that they're going to want to, oh, you know what? Let's give up future draft capital and pay him a boatload of money for a guy that maybe will work out.
I don't think it's going to take a ton of draft capital because he is older and he's sort of playing out the back nine a little bit, and they may be in full rebuild mode. I don't know exactly what's going to go on in New York with the new GM, the new head coach. Aaron Rodgers is out. How are they figuring everything out? Davante Adams is probably going to want out. He's not probably going to want to hang around for that. Can you sell him on Drake Maye? Does he watch those recruiting videos, Fitzy, that I call them, those highlight plays, and say, oh, yeah, that kid's not Jimmy Garoppolo. That kid got some moxie. That kid, I'll play with that kid. He's a young Aaron Rodgers. I had plenty of success with Aaron Rodgers. I can do it with him too.
How many?
I don't know.
How many rangs does Davante Adams have?
0. So, how is that
So
relevant?
don't you think if he's got?
How many has Deebo got?
He's been to more NFC championships.
Oh, yeah. Now we're giving out rings for going to NFC championships.
No, I'm just saying he's been to more Super Bowls recently as well. Davante Adams has been to 0 Super Bowls, has not won a Super Bowl. Obviously, you have to kind of go to it to win one. Don't you think Davante Adams, if he has, let's say, 1 to 2 years left of his prime and 3 to 4 years left in the league, period, since he is clearly teeing off on the 12th or 13th hole on the back nine of the 18 holes of his career. Don't you think he's going to want to say, yeah, I'd rather go to Kansas City. I'd rather go to Detroit. I'd rather go to even Dallas.
Are any of
as
those
opposed to
teams
New England.
offering him 2 years, $64 million, fully guaranteed?
I think he's got enough money. I'm sure he loves money. Everybody loves money.
Yeah.
But I do not think that Davante Adams is going to say, let me take a chance on making the wild card once over the next 2 years in New England. Oh, by the way, where it's freezing cold. Again, one of the things we have to take into account, people may love Vrabel. They may want to play with Drake Maye all day. But the fact that, like, it's not warm all year, that you're not in a dome, that it is Massachusetts, all of these things are going to weigh on these guys.
What about Washington? Everybody tells me Washington's the coolest place to be these days.
There it is. Boom. Davante Adams. Wham.
Oh, so now he'll go to Washington where it's cold.
Yep.
And they might not go to a Super Bowl.
Just see how cold it was. It was negative
Washington can be
570 degrees this week.
Washington can be cold too. So
I know, Ken, it's not
things
saying-
can turn around quickly in the NFL, and I think the best way to turn around a tide of negative thoughts is $64 million fully guaranteed.